exactly. Hey guys, welcome back to The Drive for History. We're here at Wheels Through Time. I'm Matt Wachsler. Today, we're talking about special motorcycles that have a unique place in motorcycle history here in America. Today, we're talking the 1930 Harley Davidson VL. Incredibly rare bike this is, not because it's a 1930 VL, because it's actually the very first type of 1930 VL. This machine, or this model I should say, came at a real unique time in American motorcycle history, right after the Great Depression. And as this machine was in development, Harley-Davidson quickly realized they kind of missed the ball in a lot of places. It's really a miracle that Harley-Davidson, during that time, during the Great Depression, was able to really come back from an initial failure like the 1930 Harley-Davidson VL. Now, when I say failure, that's not to say the bike isn't without incredible merit. All new machine, new designed model the V was for 1930. Almost every component different than the Harley-Davidson JD of the previous years. So some of the similar components had a real similar dash from 1929, double headlights a carryover from 1929. They did the double headlights 2 years only. Klaxon horn and toolbox, very similar. A couple of the transmission components, crank pin, bearings, bearing cages and such, but for the most part, the frame, the front end, the fenders, the gas tanks, the handlebars, primary covers, wheels, brakes, hubs, rims, everything for the most part was new for the 1930 Harley-Davidson VL. So big advancements from the Harley-Davidson factory at the time, but again, the model wasn't without its teething problems, significant teething problems at that came at a really difficult time in the American motorcycle industry. Like I said, it's really a miracle that Harley-Davidson was able to bounce back during such a difficult time from some of these teething problems. I'm going to go through some of those with you and just tell you exactly what makes this machine so rare. Firstly, as we know it, this is the only remaining 1930 Harley-Davidson, what we call small case VL. Now, the small case VL, as opposed to the large case or standard case VL, 1930 Harley-Davidson debuted the new motor and actually realized that the flywheels and engine cases were insufficient for low-speed running. So, as you heard, the bike's really snappy. As what happens with lighter flywheels, you get great throttle response, but what they lack is low-end torque and low-end power. So, Harley-Davidson really immediately, and keep in mind, these bikes were released, say, about in August of 1929. Almost immediately, by early September, they had halted production on the 1930 VLs to address many of these problems. First and foremost, the small cases. So, probably the most significant of all the problems. Well, now, the small engine cases themselves weren't the problem. It was what was inside the engine cases. The flywheels on these 1930 Harley-Davidson VLs were just underweighted. Too small diameter, not heavy enough. When you've got those light flywheels, like I said, really difficult low-speed operation. So right over here, guys, I got an illustration of that small case versus the big case or standard case 1930 VL. Now, when you look at these casting numbers, you got a 112-30B. That means this is the second, B's second letter in the alphabet, the second round of castings for the 1930 Harley-Davidson model year. This is the small case. Here you see 1930, this is actually a 1935 case, significantly bigger. This case, 112-30H. So they had gone A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, all the way to H in order to get their perfected I guess pattern, you'd say. So on the inside of the cases, you see that flywheel compartment, and I think 13/16 of an inch they increased the diameter of the flywheels, significantly heavier. The drive side they made into a wider flywheel that really helped the machine with smoothness on the low end. So now, when you've got to refit the machine with new engine cases, you've got to refit the machine with new flywheels. What that means is that all of the very first Harley-Davidson 1930 VLs built with this insufficient lower end had to be recalled, taken back to the factory or back to the dealer, and they literally had to break them down to the core. So for you engine builders out there and restorers out there, it all starts right with the Harley-Davidson crank. You've got 2 flywheels, a crank pin, common or a male and female rod there, and you've got to break all of that down. An incredible amount of work. Flywheel work is very precision work. So one of those things, the recall was not going to be a quick fix. They went all the way down to the engine cases, split the engine cases, split the flywheels, rebuilt, rebalanced, reassembled. So incredibly labor-intensive effort just to get these machines able to operate properly on the low end. Now, some of the other problems they had with the 1930 VLs, brake crossover shaft. First year for the crossover shaft, where brake pedal over on this side works all the way to the back, crosses over and goes to the new rear brake drum here. Crossover shafts breaking early on. Valve springs break early on. So what happens when you break your valve springs, you got less ability to close that valve. Valve spring tension directly related to RPMs. The Harley-Davidson actually had to work with lighter and weaker valve springs. It cost this machine in 1930 3, 4, and even 500 RPMs. So some of the other problems, the splined hubs. VLs have a really unique hub setup, and they actually only ran the splined hubs through first 3 or 4 years of the Harley-Davidson VL. 1934, I believe, they introduced the famous Star Hub. Maybe it was 1935, and the Star Hub would be kind of a Harley-Davidson staple on their wheels all the way through the 1960s. So far, guys, we've got big problems. You got flywheel components. The wheels and hubs caused for jerky operation. Brake crossover shafts breaking. The last thing you want on a new machine with lots more power than your previous models is a situation where your brakes are going to fail. Next, they actually in the front were using aluminum brake shoes, and the aluminum brake shoes that they were using in the setup of the front brake itself caused the machine really to wear brake shoes out incredibly fast. So the 1930 VL, plagued with problems. Harley-Davidson was actually able to overcome a lot of these problems, but it wasn't without significant cost and significant effort. Now remember, 1929, when the Great Depression hits, the motorcycle industry takes an immense crunch. They made about 10,000 VLs in 1930, and over the next couple years would ramp down that production figure down to 1933, I think, was Harley-Davidson's low production year. They produced just over 3,400 machines, I believe. So, but 1930, as far as we know, this is the only 1930 small case Harley-Davidson VL. So proud to have it here on display at the museum. This machine was restored by a friend of ours, Steve Slocum. Steve Slocum's kind of known as the VL guy, one of the VL gurus in the antique motorcycle world. Steve's been researching the Harley-Davidson V series, 1930 to 36, Harley-Davidson Big Twins. Steve's been researching, the V series really his entire life, 50 plus years of research into these models. I don't know if anyone knows them any better. Now, this machine itself, Steve had been collecting parts, again, for 40 plus years. Steve restored this machine out of almost completely new old stock parts, very few reproduction components, and believe it or not, a neat story about the engine cases. These small cases were actually sold to Steve by my dad about 30 years ago. So as things would be, things tend to cycle back to Wheels Through Time. Incredibly proud to have this bike on display here. We're going to fire it up one more time for you, and you can hear that quick wick, the throttle. It's really snappy. I bet the thing runs down the road absolutely fantastic. I think they were touting these machines as 85 to 90 mile an hour motorcycles off the assembly line. So we're going to get it fired up one more time so you guys can listen to it roar. Thanks for tuning into the Drive for History, guys. We got a ton more great programming coming to you all throughout this winter and spring. Make sure you guys check out wheelsthroughtime.com. Support the museum. Remember, you guys are exactly what keeps us going. So 1930 VL, hopefully one kick and we're back on the road. 74 cubic inch, 3-speed transmission, tank shift, a lot of 1-year only parts on the 1930s. So 1-year only exhaust, 1-year only gas tank with the fuel neck way up to the front, 1-year only dash. See you next time.